All right, switching things up now, turning our attention to the latest fallout from the failed administration of this handsome character, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, and his state's massive multi-billion-dollar fraud schemes. Shortly after President Trump's announcement that he'll be spearheading our country's national war on fraud, Vice President J.D. Vance now says that the federal government temporarily pulling the plug on hundreds of millions of dollars. It's all worth Medicaid funding earmarked for Minnesota. And it's your fault, Toxic Timmy. Vance says the Trump administration is making the move in direct response to their significant concerns over the staggering welfare fraud scandal and its extremely poor handling by Team Walz. And that's a team you do not want to be a member of. Also says they're taking action to make sure that moving forward, the leaders of the North Star State begin to take their obligations to protect taxpayer money much more seriously. For his part, Medicaid chief Dr. Mehmet Oz also places the blame squarely on Walz and his cronies, saying Minnesota's problem is clearly with their leadership, along with these self-serving scoundrels who take advantage of the system to line their own pockets. And they're lining their pockets with 20s, 50s, hundies, and more. Additionally, Oz goes on to say that sooner or later, they're likely to give Minnesota the $260 million they're currently withholding, but that they're not going to release it until state officials in Minnesota take specific action regarding what he calls a comprehensive correction plan to fix the problem. Look at that, Dr. Oz with a fiscal RX. I kind of like that. As can be expected, Walz is condemning the move, saying that the temporary funding cuts will be absolutely devastating for veterans, families, and needy people all across his state. Well, wrong. $9 billion in fraud is the legit villain. You got that one all kinds of wrong and backwards. He also claims it has nothing to do with fraud at all, that it's simply part of Trump's campaign of retribution against his political enemies, and that the president is weaponizing the entire federal government to punish blue states like his own for standing up to the Trump administration's dreadful policies. This guy is so bent, he would even confuse Sigmund Freud. I wonder if that was a Freudian slip. Final thought, and this is the News Roundup Lowdown. Now, for folks who don't know, here's the skinny on Medicaid. It's a federal and state program that provides health care coverage to people who qualify. That's usually folks with limited financial resources. So, each state operates its own Medicaid program, but the grown-ups, the federal government has rules that all states are obliged to follow. Unfortunately, one particular state hasn't been following all the rules. And while I'm not legally allowed to mention the name of the state, I can tell you that it rhymes with Minnesota. And Pranav the Magnificent, a picture, if you would please, of that fine state. The state in question looks very much like that, and it's run by a guy who looks an awful lot like this. Now, maybe it's just me, but take a look at that face. He has a certain $9 billion look about him, doesn't he? Now, infer from all that information what you will, but in my mind, I've implicated absolutely nobody. Sometimes, to be honest, I think I'm the last innocent guy in this building. Now, in that state, Minnesota, which again I have not mentioned, the federal government provides at least half of the funding for their Medicaid requirements, so don't beat up on our country's fantabulous fraud czar, Vice President J.D. Vance, for watching the books. VP Vance, by the way, has a PhD in fraudology. Now, look, it's just some good old-fashioned common sense. Fiscal responsibility, nobody's getting harmed, and for now, only some of the funds are being temporarily held back. It's not that big of a deal. Hey, Bill Thomas here. If you like what you see, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon, and don't forget to check out our channel, News Roundup with Bill Thomas, and that's where you can catch our full program and more videos. And we'll see you right back here next time.